For years, DC fans have been asking the same question. Why can't DC get it right? From failed reboots to divided fanbases, the DC universe has stumbled again and again. But now, with James Gunn stepping in, could this finally be the rise fans have been waiting for? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the fall and rise of the DCU, a journey filled with highs, lows, controversies, and second chances. We'll look at how DC went from the promise of competing with Marvel to years of messy reboots and confusion, and finally to a bold new plan that could reshape everything. From the Snyder era to the chaos of The Flash and Black Adam, all the way to James Gunn's new vision with Superman. Legacy. This is the full story of how DC fell, and how it just might rise again. The modern DC cinematic universe began in 2013 with Man of Steel. Zack Snyder's take on Superman was bold, darker, and more grounded compared to previous versions. It set the tone for what many thought would be DC's answer to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fans were hyped. This was the start of something massive. Then came Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice in 2016, introducing Ben Affleck's Batman, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and setting up the larger Justice League. On paper, it looked like a dream team, but the film's darker tone, rushed storytelling, and divisive reception showed cracks in the foundation. Unlike Marvel, which took years building their heroes before Avengers, DC was trying to fast-track an entire universe in just a few films. By the time Justice League hit in 2017, chaos had already consumed the franchise. Zack Snyder stepped away due to personal tragedy, and Joss Whedon was brought in to finish the film. The result was a tonal mess, half Snyder's vision, half Marvel-style humor, and a lot of CGI. Fans weren't just disappointed, they felt betrayed. The infamous CGI Superman lip became a symbol of how rushed and broken the DCU had become. Meanwhile, other films like Suicide Squad in 2016 and Wonder Woman in 2017 showed flashes of potential, but inconsistency became the DCU's biggest problem. For every high, there was a crushing low. Instead of building a steady foundation, the universe was collapsing under its own weight before it had even begun. After Justice League, Warner Bros. Scrambled to rebuild fan trust. Some movies found success. Aquaman in 2018 became a billion-dollar hit, and Shazam in 2019 charmed audiences with its lighter, family-friendly tone. Wonder Woman had already been a triumph in 2017, giving fans hope DC could deliver when it leaned into heart over darkness. But the cracks never fully healed. Birds of Prey was stylish, but struggled at the box office. Wonder Woman, 1984, failed to live up to the first film's acclaim, leaving many disappointed. Then came Zack Snyder's Justice League in 2021, the long-awaited Snyder Cut. For many fans, it was proof that DC had robbed them of a better vision back in 2017. While the 4-hour epic was celebrated online, it also deepened the divide. Some fans demanded Snyder continue his universe, while Warner Bros. Wanted to move in a new direction. Hopes rose again with Black Adam, marketed as the movie to change the hierarchy of power. Dwayne Johnson promised a new DC era, even teasing Superman's return in a post-credits scene, but the film underperformed, plans unraveled, and the hierarchy stayed the same. And then came The Flash. Once touted as DC's multiverse reset button, it ended up being one of the biggest box office bombs in superhero history. Even Michael Keaton's Batman return and multiverse cameos couldn't save it. By the end of this run, it was clear the DCEU wasn't just struggling, it was done. By late 2022, Warner Bros. Realized the DCEU experiment had collapsed. The constant reboots, conflicting visions, and behind-the-scenes chaos had left fans exhausted. That's when James Gunn and Peter Safran were handed the keys to DC Studios, not just as producers, but as architects of a brand new DC universe. Instead of rushing into another Justice League, Gunn laid out Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, a carefully planned slate. At its heart is Superman, Legacy, a story meant to reintroduce Superman not as a dark, brooding figure, but as a symbol of hope and humanity. This marks the true starting point of the new DCU. Alongside it, fans can expect Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, The Brave and the Bold, introducing Batman and Damian Wayne, and a darker, horror-inspired Swamp Thing. On TV, projects like Waller, Lanterns, and Creature Commandos will expand the universe beyond just the big screen. What makes this different from DC's past attempts is vision and cohesion. Gunn is a storyteller first, known for turning Guardians of the Galaxy into one of Marvel's most beloved franchises. Now, he's applying that same mix of humor, heart, and emotional depth to DC's heroes. And importantly, DC isn't abandoning its successful side projects. Elseworlds films like The Batman Part 2 and Joker Folie à Deux will exist alongside the main DCU, giving fans a mix of grounded, standalone stories and an interconnected universe. It's risky, it's ambitious, but for the first time in years, fans feel like DC might finally have a clear direction, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to rise again. The future of DC stands on a razor's edge. On one hand, fans have been burned too many times by false starts, canceled projects, and inconsistent storytelling. On the other hand, James Gunn and Peter Safran's new vision offers the most structured and ambitious plan DC has had in decades. For once, the pieces seem like they could finally fit together. At the center of it all is Superman Legacy. This film isn't just another reboot, it's meant to be the foundation of the DCU. If it captures the optimism, heart, and humanity of Superman while also feeling fresh, it could win back trust and set the standard for everything that follows. If it misses the mark, though, the entire universe could collapse before it even begins. Beyond Superman, the slate is bold and diverse. Supergirl. Woman of Tomorrow promises a cosmic, emotional story based on Tom King's acclaimed comic. The Brave and the Bold will finally introduce Batman and Damian Wayne into the DCU, giving us a father-son dynamic we've never seen on screen. Swamp Thing leans into horror, Lanterns explores cosmic mystery, and the Authority teases a morally complex team that could shake up the traditional hero formula. Together, these projects suggest a universe with variety, depth, and ambition. Meanwhile, Elseworlds stories like The Batman Part 2 and Joker Folie à Deux will continue in their own worlds, proving that DC doesn't have to choose between a shared universe and unique standalone films. This dual approach could become DC's biggest strength, giving fans both a cohesive saga and bold experimental storytelling. The truth is, DC's future is uncertain, but for the first time in years, it feels like the studio isn't just chasing Marvel, it's carving its own path. And if Gunn delivers, the DCU could rise not just as competition, but as something entirely its own, darker, braver, and filled with heart. The future of DC is both risky and thrilling. After years of reboots, reshuffles, and broken promises, fans are understandably cautious. But James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU feels different. For the first time, there's a clear plan, a 10-year roadmap, and a storyteller at the helm who actually understands what makes these characters resonate. At the heart of this future is Superman Legacy. Gunn himself is writing and directing it, and this film will set the tone for the entire DCU. Instead of a dark and brooding take, Gunn promises a Superman full of hope, kindness, and humanity, a true modern reflection of the hero who started it all. If this movie works, it will rebuild trust and anchor the DCU the way Iron Man did for Marvel. But if it fails, the entire shared universe could crumble before it even begins. What comes next is a bold mix of genres and tones. The Brave and the Bold will finally introduce Batman into the new DCU, but not just any Batman. This version will feature Damian Wayne, Bruce's son, raised by the League of Assassins, bringing a new father-son dynamic we've never seen on screen. Supergirl. Woman of Tomorrow is set to explore cosmic space opera with a darker, more hardened Kara Zor-El. Swamp Thing will dive into gothic horror. Lanterns promises a true detective mystery in space, and the Authority introduces a morally gray superhero team who could clash with Superman's ideals. These aren't just safe, formulaic choices, they're risky, genre-spanning projects that show Gunn is willing to take chances. But the brilliance of DC's new approach is that it isn't abandoning its biggest current hits. Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 and Todd Phillips' Joker, Folie à Deux, will continue as Elseworlds projects, proving DC can juggle a shared universe while also giving directors the freedom to tell standalone, experimental stories. If Marvel often feels locked into one formula, DC's greatest strength might become its variety. And then there's the bigger picture. Gunn has already hinted at the eventual formation of the Justice League, though this time it won't be rushed. Instead, DC seems intent on building its heroes one by one, letting audiences care about them before uniting them. On top of that, the multiverse is still on the table. The Flash showed us that alternate universes exist in DC film canon, and it wouldn't be surprising if down the road we see crossovers between Gunn's DCU and legacy characters like Henry Cavill's Superman, Ben Affleck's Batman or even Grant Gustin's Flash. Imagine a future Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, where every live-action Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman comes together. It would be the ultimate payoff to decades of storytelling. In short, the future of DC is unpredictable, but that might be exactly what it needs. For the first time, DC is embracing both heart and ambition, risk and structure. If Gunn's vision pays off, fans won't just be watching superheroes fight villains, they'll be watching DC itself rise from the ashes and finally deliver the universe fans have been waiting for. If there's one thing that has kept DC alive through all its ups and downs, it's hope. Fans have stuck around through cancellations, reboots, confusing timelines, and studio shakeups because their connection to these characters runs deeper than box office numbers. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, they're more than just superheroes. They're cultural icons that inspire people in ways that stretch far beyond the big screen. And that's why, even after so many failed promises, fans are still willing to give DC one more chance. James Gunn and Peter Safran aren't just selling another reboot, they're offering the possibility of a universe with real heart, vision, and longevity. A Superman legacy that truly captures what it means to stand for hope. A brave and the bold that gives us a new Batman while also introducing Damian Wayne and building a future for the Bat family. A Supergirl, woman of tomorrow, that dares to tell a more human, emotional story. These aren't just projects, they're chances to finally give DC the soul it's been missing. At the end of the day, Superman has always been a symbol of hope. Maybe that's fitting, because if DC is going to rise again, it will be on the back of hope, not just within the stories, but in the hearts of the fans who never stop believing that this universe could be great again. So, where does this leave us? The DCU is standing at a crossroads. The past is full of missteps, but the future is wide open. Fans are cautious, but they're also hopeful, because they know what these characters can mean when they're done right. If James Gunn's vision delivers, we could finally see a DC that rivals, or even surpasses, Marvel's golden age. If it doesn't, well, it might be the last time audiences put their faith in another reboot. But for now, the story isn't over. It's just beginning. The fall and rise of the DCU isn't just about superheroes, it's about whether one of the greatest mythologies ever created can reclaim its place in cinema history. And maybe, just maybe, this time, DC will rise.